This is the Lexus LS500. And not only is it their full-size luxury flagship, for a lot of people, the LS defines the brand. For 2021, Lexus has made some upgrades to the LS. And the question becomes, does the LS500 now have what it takes to compete with the best European full-size luxury sedans? Let's find out. I will never forget the night in 1989 when my father dragged my 14-year-old self down to the brand new Lexus dealer to catch a look at the LS400. Nobody, and I'm talking there was lots of people gathered, nobody could believe that there was actually a $40,000 Japanese car. It just didn't make any sense. But you gotta put yourself back more than 3 decades to what the luxury scene was like. The American brands, Cadillac and Lincoln, their stars were fading. The German brands, the European brands, they were nice cars, but they were expensive and they were in the shop a lot. All of a sudden, you had Toyota's well-earned reputation for reliability being injected into the luxury car segment. Nothing was the same after that. The original LS400 was conservatively styled. It had to be. This is anything but. Believe it or not, Lexus actually softened the design for 2021. They made it a little bit less in your face. I mentioned it's polarizing, and I'll be on the side of the fence that not in love with it. But I have to mention one anecdote, and that is, I remember when this was brand new, the 5th generation LS, the entire office was outside looking at it. But then once we got done talking, and us old guys, we can talk, the young kids, everyone under 40, and especially the ones under 30, they all spoke up and they said, you know what, we like it. And they didn't just say they like it, they said they love the way it looks. They thought it looked, quote, super cool. Looking at the proportions of the car, I mean, this is great, right? It's a big, full-size, rear-wheel drive car, which always looks good. This one has a sloping roofline, so it kind of looks like a stretched Tesla Model S. If you go out to the back, it's big, it's wide, it's mean, it's got twin tailpipes, it looks aggressive. Again, maybe Toyota knows something I don't. Ask the kids. If the exterior design of the Lexus LS500 is controversial, the interior is anything but. This is a magnificent cabin. Lexus used to brag all the time that the artisans who stitched their interiors, they were able to fold an origami bird with one hand. Well, this interior makes me feel that the people who made it were about that talented. Let's just take a minute and enjoy the leather, the softness of the leather. I'm trying to think, maybe Rolls-Royce and Bentley have softer leathers, but maybe not. Just exquisite. These seats, super comfy. They're 28-way adjustable. I can think of about 18 directions, but anyways, there's 28 ways you can adjust it. And of course, the rear seats are about, if not more comfortable than the front seats. And if you pay for it, you can get heated, cooled, and massaged everywhere in the cabin. The thing about a luxury car is, it's the little things that matter. And should your luxury car ever make this noise? Do you hear that? No, it's not a broken slot machine. That is the sound of the Lexus trackpad. It wasn't very good when it came out about 5 years ago. I feel like it's gotten worse over time. It's just a bad way to control what's going on in the car. And Lexus agrees with me because they've just put a brand new 12.3-inch touchscreen here in the LS500, and it works really well. Other things I should call out, the stereo in this car is exquisite, 2,400 watts, I'll say it again, a 2,400 watt Mark Levinson sound system. It's incredible. Again, I can't say enough good things about the interior of this car. In the rarefied air of this segment, luxury buyers want it all. Lots of power, lots of performance, lots of comfort, lots of refinement, lots of technology, leather. If you can fit a movie theater into the rear seat, they'll take it. If you want a V8, you gotta look elsewhere. Lexus does not put a V8 into the LS500. They do, however, put in a good 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6 that makes 416 horsepower and 442 pound-feet of torque. Not only is that plenty, but it makes it competitive with things like the 6-cylinder 7 Series and the 6-cylinder S-Class. The most surprising thing about the LS, and I'll never forget the first time I drove it, is how well it drives. It drives much more sporty than you would think any LS would have a right to. In fact, the rear-wheel drive version, you can drift it. Now, one of the problems with a good driver's car is the ride quality tends to be not so good. The original LS400 had an incredibly smooth ride, and it was a problem because this car didn't. However, for 2021, Lexus has revamped the suspension and the ride quality is said to be much better. Not that it's top of mind, but because you can't get an 8-cylinder engine in the LS, the fuel economy is actually pretty good. 22 miles per gallon combined for the rear-wheel drive LS and 21 mpgs for the all-wheel drive version. Nobody crash tests big, expensive luxury cars like this. There's no data. Safe to assume they're pretty safe. As far as standard safety features go, the LS500 has so many I can't even list them all, but I will bet you this car has more airbags than your car has speakers. 10 airbags. How much? Well, the Lexus LS500 starts life at just over $78,000. To put that in perspective for you, Audi A8, BMW 7 Series, they begin at just over $87,000, and a Mercedes-Benz S-Class is $100,000. The car next to me has about $20,000 worth of options, raising the price to nearly $100,000. Now, to get this level of functionality on a Mercedes, you'd probably spend another $40,000. My point is, if you're in the market for a car like this, the Lexus represents something of a great value. From my perspective, the one thing you should know about the Lexus LS500 is it's surprisingly fun to drive in a segment that's not known for driver's cars. Yeah, it doesn't have a big monstrous V8, but I'll take sweet handling over raw power almost any day of the week. However, if you think about the LS compared to the original, it's an inversion of the model. The original LS400, it was almost boring looking, right? And its emphasis was on comfort and ride quality, and it's not the kind of thing you'd take on a back road, whereas, I mean, look at this. This is one of the shoutiest cars ever made, and it drives great. However, I think, and apparently so does Lexus, they went too far with it, which is why for 2021, they softened not only the looks, but the suspension as well. Perhaps they've found a sweet spot. To see vehicle rankings and a complete buyer's guide, please visit motortrend.com/cars.